A single line changes everything. Francisco Pizarro's report on the conquest of the Inca Empire, dated 1533, details the empire's immense wealth and the tributes demanded. The conquistadors extracted over 100,000 kilos of gold and 200,000 kilos of silver from the Inca Empire between 1532 and 1572. Yet, one detail is missing from official reports. Why did the conquistadors extract these riches with such brutality? The archives reveal that the conquistadors used torture and enslavement to extract wealth from the Inca Empire. The testimony of Spanish historian Pedro Cieza de León describes the empire's wealth and the methods employed for its extraction. The Register of Inca Tributes, preserved in the National Archives of Peru, shows the conquistadors demanded significant tributes in gold, silver, and goods. The Spanish crown claimed the conquest was undertaken to evangelize the Incas and integrate them into Spanish society. But the records and testimonies show the conquest was driven by the extraction of Inca wealth and the establishment of a colonial administration that oppressed the Inca population. The archives and testimonies demonstrate that the conquest of the Inca Empire was brutal. The conquistadors employed torture and enslavement to extract the empire's riches. Inca Garcilaso de la Vega, who lived during the conquest, describes the resistance of the Incas against the conquistadors and the consequences for the Inca people. Documents reveal the Spanish crown established a colonial administration that oppressed the Inca population and demanded significant tributes in gold, silver, and goods. The conquistadors extracted over 100,000 kilos of gold and 200,000 kilos of silver from the Inca Empire between 1532 and 1572. But who benefited from these riches? The conquistadors, the Spanish crown, or the Spanish merchants? The benefits of the conquest were shared among all three groups. Up to this point, one might believe the conquest was aimed at evangelizing the Incas and integrating them into Spanish society. But a line in the Spanish crown's report on the conquest of the Inca Empire, dated 1572, presents a problem. The documents show that the Spanish crown established a colonial administration that oppressed the Inca population and demanded significant tributes in gold, silver, and goods. What does this imply for our understanding of the Inca conquest? The archives show the conquest was brutal. The conquistadors used torture and enslavement to extract the empire's riches. But to whom does this silence regarding the truth of the conquest serve? If the documents are complete, then the events in question are not isolated anomalies. They form a larger pattern. The archives point toward a systematic practice of concealing and manipulating information. This raises fundamental questions about the transparency and accountability of the institutions involved. The remaining mystery is how these practices persisted without being detected or denounced sooner. Researchers who accessed these files ask if similar programs still exist today. If they do, what mechanisms are in place to control them and hold them accountable for their actions? One line in the document suggests that high-ranking government officials were aware of these activities. But their names remain redacted, leaving doubt about the involvement of specific individuals. The available evidence suggests the consequences of these actions run deeper than previously admitted. A recently declassified document, dated 1975, reveals a different reality. It states that the operations in question were approved at very high levels of government. This document is titled Project Nightshade. It describes a secret operation aimed at influencing the media and public opinion for political ends. The details of the project are partial. However, considerable resources were allocated to support these activities. A handwritten note in the margin of the document mentions a secret meeting attended by representatives from several government agencies. Yet, the objectives and results of this meeting remain unknown. The archives show that Project Nightshade operations continued until at least 1980. The document bears the stamp Top Secret and the notation Destroy by Incineration. Researchers who discovered this document wonder how many similar operations were conducted without detection. This program is officially closed, but the questions remain unanswered. What if the true question is not what is hidden, but why these pieces of information are emerging now? What does this mean for our understanding of recent history and for the role institutions play in society? The answers remain elusive. But one thing is certain, history is rarely what it appears at first glance. The documents continue to speak. It is time to listen. The truth, as always, resides in the details. And it is up to us to decipher them. But then, to whom does this silence serve? And how can we hope to discover the truth when the evidence has been destroyed or concealed?